And hello and welcome back to Fate Hollow Ataraxia. Last time we got into main story stuff. I honestly wasn't even intending to do at that time, but apparently I reached a milestone. But let's continue on. I think I've done enough main story stuff that I'm going to take a little bit of a break from and do more of the side stuff in between before next time. But last time we saw, well, what we believed to be Avenger's actual look, which is basically Emio with a bunch of tattoos. And you know, a real shit-eating grin on his face and stuff like that. The moment I let loose those words that you betrayed me too, which I assume the two refers to the priest, given how they've established such a relationship with him with her and whatnot. The moment I let loose those words, I lose all rational thought. Just being there, unable to bear my own existence. I ran out, my feet taking me somewhere on their own. As if just running away. My town, my torn memories, my left arm spilling invisible blood, they have taken all rational thought away from me. I can't remember. I certainly heard it, yet I still can't recall the conversation I had with that girl. Dead, she said. Someone had died, and the Fifth Holy Grail War was over. Died? Who? I fled back then, too. Not even hearing that the Holy Grail War ended was enough to disturb me. So how did such a trifle end up destroying me so thoroughly? I mean, my presumption at this point is, reproduction or not, it's not like it's a different timeline. Like I was speculating, it's just straight up the remaining spirit of someone who had died. And if that's the case, that means others might be involved here too, even. I'm thinking not, given the connection to Avenger, but who knows, the priest might show up. I run. I have nowhere to go, yet I'm running towards one very certain place. My left arm feels like it's being torn off. The sense of pain invades my mind, causing endless chaos and confusion. I who left my hometown, an antique that had no place in the association. I was driven further and further into a corner as I tried to find my worth and could not. After leaving my hometown far behind, I then realized just how much I loved it, yet I could not go back. I had nothing definite, my own self was still vague. I built up an imposing exterior and nothing more. And on that day, for the first time, I saw a strength I could rely on. Not needing anyone. I selfishly admired that, thinking how much easier my life would be if I could be the same. I cringe in pain. I have morphine in my bag. It would be the first time I've ever wanted a painkiller, but I can't inject it into my left arm, so I'd rather have it right into my spine. That way, it would hit my brain right away, and I can just forget everything. Forget all about it. I don't want to hear about who died. I came to this town as a master. I couldn't care less about that man. But why was I the one chosen? Zet Fraga McRemits is a sealing designation enforcer. Any way you slice it, a Holy Grail War in a faraway eastern land is definitely outside her jurisdiction. There has to be a reason. There has to be another reason I am here. The reason that made me so happy. The reason made me so happy. I was so happy to be able to meet him again after all these years. I'm a mess who died. I'm a mess who died. I'm a mess who died. I wonder if I can hear a silver-colored song. Will you meet her, or I'm finally here? The place I never entered up until now. The place I wanted to visit for a long, long time. From what I've heard, it's a small yet elegant chapel. He abstained from luxury and lived a life of self-imposed stringency. I'm sure the building will be very much like him. gloomy decorations, tension in the air. These were all aspects of him. The vestiges of the man I trusted, making me nostalgic just by thinking about it. Why didn't I come sooner? This is where I'll find him. In the 5th Holy Grail War, the priests will always welcome those who visit this church. And... this is what I heard. Nothing but ruins and an unfamiliar girl waiting for me in his place. The pain is at its climax. It's as if my left arm is falling off.
神父の代役です。琴峰綺麗はここにはいない。もうこの世のどこにも存在しない。目を覚ましなさい、バゼット。あなたが望むものは初めからなかった。琴峰綺麗がただの一度もあなたを愛したことがなかったように。
I was chosen because of the recommendation he gave me.
監督役から直々に指名があるとはね。何か個人的な交友でもあったのかな、バゼット君。
Did he do it specifically because he thought he could take her out and take her servant? Not even the vulgar sarcasm of the association fazed me. I was happy to be chosen by the man that never chose anyone. But we never continued from where we left off last time. Mixing business and personal affairs would only disappoint him. Having recognized my abilities, he recommended me as a master. Therefore, when I met him, it would be as the victor. I intended to see him only after winning the Holy Grail War. Everything was going smoothly. I made a contract with the ideal servant and set up my base in a Western-style mansion, which had been used by Magus before. Soon all 7 masters would be present. As I was preparing for the upcoming battle, he came to visit me in that room and... he killed me. Yeah, this is much what seemed fairly apparent up to this point. I've remembered. Those are my last moments. The fate of one miserable master that was called to the Holy Grail War, yet never had the chance to participate in it.
この茶番はさ、聖杯戦争を続けたいあんたが引退した連中を引き戻して。
Interesting. I still figured it was Avenger pulling it along. It's exactly as Avenger says. Or is it they both want it, technically? That's driving it? Because I figured Avenger just liked it because he had fun with it, basically. He never wanted the whole process to end. Kodamini attacked me from behind, and I was on the verge of death. My left arm holding the command spell had been torn off, and I was left alone in that mansion. My wound would bring death if I moved even slightly. Yet it was also a fatal wound that would eventually kill me even if I didn't. Barely alive, I made a wish from the bottom of my consciousness that was running out together with my blood. Not for revenge. With death overtaking me, I had no room for anger at being betrayed. Nor was it despair. My dimming mind felt no sadness at the betrayal. At that moment, it is... They do paint a very pitiable picture for her at the very least. At that moment, I had but one thought remaining in my heart. I don't want to die. I don't want to die in a place like this. I don't want to die in such a pitiful way. I can't bear dying alone like this. Time had stopped. More than halfway towards death. I kept on screaming until the remains of my life were all used up. And then... a mysterious and unfamiliar something happened to hear me. It was most likely what used to be the Holy Grail. The formless void inside the Holy Grail smashed by the winner of the 5th Holy Grail War. By all rights, once the Grail had been destroyed, it ought to have returned to the Throne of Heroes. But that thing lived inside the Holy Grail. No, inside the wish-granting Grail, it had finally taken the form of the hero everyone had wished to be. It was a servant, reborn inside the Holy Grail. So we're saying that Avenger is the Avenger that had gotten mixed up with the Holy Grail previously taking form again. The one called all the evil in the world, having become the demonic Grail that grants people's wishes, had answered my call. Which would mean he'd have to specifically be, rather than like some alternative version of Avenger, the actual same Avenger, right? That participated in one of the previous Holy Grail Wars? I forget. However much of an embodiment of the Holy Grail he may be, he was a servant, and without a master he would disappear. Through an impossible miracle, an accident that would never happen again, he had finally become the hero that everyone wished him to be. And yet, he would disappear, having lasted not even one night. Our mutual interests happened to coincide in the fact that neither one of us had a future. Well, of course. I was already about to meet my end. I was delirious. I had no time to contemplate that being's nature. I was just terrified that after my death, my body would rot, decay, and eventually become nothing. That's why only one thought remained burning in my mind as I laid on the verge of death. I don't want to die. I want to extend the contract. Thus, the thing that had lost its old shell, known as the Holy Grail, found a new home in me by forming a contract. I lost consciousness the very next moment. That is, I died. So what's left here is my corpse. A pitiful misconception repeating the same 4 days indefinitely, frolicking forever inside a walled garden. Had my last wish been, I want to be resurrected, I doubt he'd been able to grant it even then. He said it himself. The dead cannot revive the dead. To give form to the dead is a privilege reserved only for the living. That's why the most he can do is deceive the soul. He preserves the soul separated from the body. And for as long as the contract is in force, he will play this convenient dream, with the real life set as its stage. It's lavishly ornamented. A hollow, like a cradle built in the depths of slumber. That's right. This never-ending Holy Grail War itself is what Bazette wished for. And that servant was my very own wish-granting Holy Grail. So, trying to think of how this works from just like a mechanical perspective. I know there's a lot of shit in this universe that I don't get, but how they're playing out these scenes is the presumption that everything that we're seeing with Bazette is just straight up happening? Just isolated and potentially cut off largely from the existence that Shiro lives. And she's just avoiding things that would make her realize it. I mean, she did show up at the house. That seems like a pretty big red flag in terms of the idea of it being different areas. And the fact that she fought Emiya, too. I finally get to the church several minutes behind Bazette. I knew this fleet-footed lady ought to seek refuge here. It would also explain why she just, didn't remember Emiya at all, despite him being in front of her. Presumably he was still there, just, she's subconsciously or something else that's compelling her to just not look in the direction of things that would make her realize. For Bizet Fraga McRemits, the church is the last bit of support she can rely on. It's also the one place she should never set foot in.
オルガンが聞こえやがる。面倒なことになってなけりゃいいんだが。
Even though, judging by her good mood earlier, I can expect to meet with instant death if I face her right now. I'm not the kind of servant who would abandon his master when she's at her most desperate. Preparing myself for the possibility that my head is about to part ways with my body, I fumble in the darkness till my hands find the door. Inside the abandoned building, there's a woman feebly hanging her head. And at the altar, there's a silver flower in bloom.
よう、その様子じゃほとんど思い出したってところだな。
The woman doesn't answer. Looks like she calmed down, but she's still mad at me.
ありゃ、まだご機嫌斜めですか。仕方ないな。特別サービスだ。本当は聞かれなきゃ答えねえんだが、ここは包み隠さず、正直に世界の仕組みを説明してや。
No, answer!
必要ありません。
Answer! I want to know, I'm curious!
あなたが答えるべきことは2つだ
I
け
want to
だ。
know how the word works, damn it! She cuts me short. There's no emotion in the words she shot at me. The woman had become a machine. In that case, there's no need for me to stay human either.
私が望む限り、聖杯戦争は終わらない。
Yeah.
聖杯戦争が続く限り、私は死なない。
Yeah. That's fine then. She passes me as she heads out of the church. I can't believe it. Right now, I am genuinely shocked.
待て。ならいいってなんだ。ここまで来て振り出しに戻るのか。
You gonna try find a way to come out of this alive? I mean, if we're talking about the idea that resurrection is the privilege of the living, we've interacted with a lot of living people. Tasaka for one, yeah. That just happened. If you recognize it and are able to reach out to the people via this illusion, perhaps you can work something out. The fact that we have an indefinite amount of time to work it out is probably pretty advantageous, yeah?
1日目に戻るのはいつものことでしょ。今さら何を言うのです、あなたは。
Oh, wow. The tables have been turned.
わからないな。からくりを知ったんだろ。ならもういいはずだ。この世界は死にかけだ。終わらないが続かない。そんなところにいたって何にもならないじゃないか。
それは外の世界も同じことです。私も、私を取り巻く世界も、それを許す世界そのものも、とっくに崩壊しだしている。再生はない。あとはただ、滅びをどれだけ緩やかに引き伸ばすかだけの話だ。
I gotta be honest, I sort of feel like I'd react a lot more like Bizet here. Like, shit. I don't want to die. I don't, like, sure, like, it's not an ideal situation by far, and I'm sort of screwing with a lot of people by this happening, but I don't want to die. I don't want my existence to just disappear. That would be the sort of thought process going through my head. Especially if it's the fact that if I just take this until either I'm satisfied or it's as long as I need to. Like, you know what? Fuck it. We don't need the Holy Grail War. Holy Grail War happening. We don't need a fight. Let's just go out and have fun. Come on, Avenger. Let's have fun in the world. Let's live out our life to a satisfactory degree until we're both just willing to be like, yeah, it was fun. Stuff like that. End it, then the world itself gets on however it needs to get on. Because I know people are starting to remember in the real world, and I don't know if they might try something, but still, they'll be fine. It's going to be the same result coming out of it anyways, if it's on the 500th loop of things happening or the 20 millionth. All I'm saying. She is terrified. I can get that. She's saying she is terrified of the inevitable death.
私たちは未来のない世界に生きている。そんな現実に戻るなら、そうだ、もっと早く気がつけばよかった。裏切られたからって悲観することはない。元から私には何もなかった。あんな場所で生きるぐらいなら4日間しか続かなくてもここで生き続けた方がマシだ。
That is wrong. Being weak is fine, but stalling in here is a bit of a waste. Is it? Nothing seems to require us to go out and just fight constantly. Just because the Holy Grail War shit's happening, couldn't we just go out and do whatever we damn well please? I'm not saying, like, do something horrible. Though Avenger probably would, you know, do something horrible given some of his proclivities, but you know. What was it that you struggled to breathe up until now for?
こっちのがマシか。それこそ何を今さら口にする。
I mean, I don't agree with the idea that she's better off here than being outside, but like being alive. But if you're left with the choices of disappearing entirely and this, this seems better.
現実が厳しいなんてそんなことあんたは生まれた時から分かっていたんじゃないのか。
She's pessimistic because she's weak. However, it's swallowing up that weakness and dying that's the number one sign of being human. That's what the priest was saying.
話はここまでです。戦いを続けます。あなたは私のサーバントだ。私の方針に従っている。
Okay, so I'm just saying, if she goes and just tries to keep fighting constantly, then yeah, she's wasting her fucking time at that point. She's not trying to even achieve anything at that point, she's just doing it. Like, you can be part of the Holy Grail War without actually needing to fight, yeah? I think this is actually fairly well established at this point. You can just sort of, you know, be vaguely aware of it and, you know, go on and do your shit. Bizet is leaving the church. This is completely beyond my expectations. I thought that once she regained her memory, she would reject this silliness once and for all.
こりゃもう一押し必要かな。
Unfortunately, I can't really think of anything. Well, whatever. If the master intensified, the servant ought to just follow along. The one last push will be a job left for the hero of justice.
あなたはまだ続けるのですか？
There's a woman standing at the altar. She's so sensitive she might just die if I get any closer. The distance between us now is the closest we can manage. It's not like we could ever talk or touch each other to begin with.
仕方ないだろう。契約者が続けるって言うんだ。使い魔が自分から契約破棄したら魔術師のルールが壊れる。
わかりました。確かにあなたの立場ではそれが最善でしょう。
Her tone is cool and indifferent. Since neither one of us cares much for the other's existence, our conversations are never any longer than they need to be. However, for whatever reason,
あなたに会いました。とても楽しそうだった。
she brings up something unnecessary.
ああ。ま、楽しい分にはいいだろうさ。
Are you not aware of it's going on, Avenger? I give a vague reply. Perhaps, I mean, is his conscious not with consciousness here not having those memories in any capacity? Whether I should show joy or envy, react with surprise or sorrow, honestly, I have no idea.
外でマスターが待ってる。そろそろ出るぜ。
The atmosphere is getting awkward, so let's get this over with.
忠告してあげるわ。契約を切るか、このまま続けて終わってしまうか。どちらにせよ、彼女ならいっそこのまま。
I don't want to hear it. His statement isn't even correct in the first place.
まさか助けを求めるのなら救われないものはない。どんなものであれ最後には救われるんだ。
呆れた。それをあなたが言うの？ アンリマユ。
Yeah, but you have to search it out according to his logic, right? He's clearly not.
もちろん。ま、俺の言う救いは人間の救いじゃないがね。
Ain't got no clue about bringing salvation while alive, unfortunately. Those that fell into despair can't be changed. So instead, you just need to switch that despair with something more meaningful. As one lies on their deathbed, like vengeance, being able to savor the illusion of a well-spent life in the final moments ought to bring happiness to any human.
ねえ、今でも本当に願いを終わらせたい。
当たり前だ。もう何億回繰り返したと思ってやがる。いい加減飽き飽きでお先真っ
Has
暗
it
だ
been
よ。
millions now?
嘘つき。
The woman goes up the stairs. In the end, I'm the only one left in the chapel.
何億回か。
A string of ordinary days that I already know everything there could possibly be to know about. A world dimming ever so slightly with every new event. A world that I've never personally experienced, but everything is known to me at the same time. There's still some gaps in it, but I'm sure even those are just worthless bits of daily life. Well, anyway.
嘘つきって俺を誰だと思ってやがる。アベンジャーが正直者のわけねえだろうが。
Being criticized for lying doesn't put me in a good mood. That's for sure. Just what does that woman think I am, anyways? Yeah, that seemed to very heavily hint that there's one or two events of that nature left. Okay. Well, my intent was always to, to avoid for a while. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm at a point where a lot of the slice of life stuff, I enjoy it. It's just, there's so fucking much of it. So I will say this. I do intend to relatively soon do things that involve coming to a conclusion of the main story here. And then presumably come back to this when I feel in the mood for all that stuff again later. But I'm not objecting to the idea of going and doing specific things before I move on and then come back to it later. So if there is something specific that you think I should do, whether it requires like a set of things that I do to get to or something like that, feel free to say. I've put this out there before. Hey, is there anything specific I should try to make sure I do? No one said anything. People have expressed like, man, you should just do as much, you should do all the events and etc, 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 like, oh, they're a big part of it, they're important. Almost like acting like there is something in there that's important for me to do. But no one ever brings up anything, and all you need to do is tell me day and who to go talk to or the location or something like that. It doesn't even need to involve spoilers if there is something. But the more people, when I like inquire about that, and people are just like, no, or just like a silence or something like that, the more I feel as though it's just like, yeah, there's a lot of interesting, good slice of life or other everyday life sort of events, that sort of stuff. Not even necessarily slice of life, sure. There's still stuff like that. But they're not necessarily things that will be the end of the world if I don't do, or especially if I don't do now before I come back to it later. That's sort of my stance on it currently. Because honestly, the main story is pretty interesting. It's an interesting psychological question at the minimum, being put in that sort of situation, so I find it interesting, like I said, at the very least, so just like I find whenever we get one of these, just like I find these interesting when it's like, oh, hey, we don't know who it is, who might it be? I think the last time we had one of these, it was Karen, so maybe. Having said that, it's already been a month since Ryder started working at the antique shop. Yes! Ha ha ha, she does have a job. There's something for everyone at a shop with such a bizarre, assortment of items from all over the world. A place with that kind of international character must attract a wide variety of customers. Variety, sure. I can get that. Shall I regret this already? In an instant, a separate dimension spawned in the middle of the shopping district. Everyone around the store is just watching from the sides, not even able to get close.
あらあら、かの悪名高きゴルゴン三姉妹の末女がこんなところで店番とはね。悪名の高さはあなたも同じでしょ。その上、そんな厚ぼったく重苦しい格好で醜態を晒してどうするのです。
It certainly stands out. Caster, I'm surprised you don't have something a bit more casual. I mean, I'm trying to remember if you have had something more casual. I haven't really thought about it too deeply. But still, isn't saying, hey, which one of you is more famous, aren't you like literally saying which one of you is more powerful as a result? Because isn't that how it works? How infamous or famous you are directly correlates to how much strength you acquire as part of all this whole system.
みすぼらしい怪物風情には高貴な貝紫の美しさは理解できないよね。
You also stand out like a sore thumb. You look more like a cosplayer than you do a person.
私のこれは仕事着ですから。
Mind you, I'm not intending to imply that cosplayers aren't real people, but that sort of goes without saying anyways, you know?
ええ、あなたの巨体にはお似合いね。
I'm just joking.
まったく何を食べてたらそうなるのかしら。ネクタルやアンブロシアを食してもそんな宙に突き立つレバノンの杉のようにはならないはずよ。それじゃあ恋人の一人もいないでしょ。おや、バツイチなのに新婚気取りですか？
If you want to call it a... Do they technically get divorced? That's the...
待て、落ち着け二人とも。
For the sake of the world, the people, and Mount Miyama, and the fucking pottery, I suffer through the psychological damage while breaking them apart.
シロ、邪魔よ、坊や。
Shut... Code voices pierce me from both sides. I can't... She calls me boy, and I can't even deny it because it's technically true. There's no way I can play it off with a joke or sweet words in this atmosphere. This is bad. One wrong move and my pathetic corpse will be tumbling out of the shop.
コン、さっきから火の粉がかからないように見守っていたんだけど、このままだと火の粉以前に店が全焼してそうだ。なんでそんなに喧嘩腰なんだよ、二人とも。
Fighting isn't good, I try to say, as diplomatically as possible.
私はただの店の客です。問題があるならこの無礼な店員に非があるんじゃなくて。
Okay, being rude to the clerk too is also you being an asshole. It's like those fucking people that are at the register at some store making just demands, that sort of shit. I get expecting something and trying to work with the store to try to hopefully make it happen, and if they really can't, then take your business elsewhere at worst. But conflict's really not necessary in any of those situations. It's a store. If you really have a problem with it, just don't spend your money there.
それならライダーが良くない。
ですってよ。坊やも時にはいいこと言うわね。
そうだ、気持ちはわかるけど、店員ならどんなお客さんだろうと丁重に対応しなきゃ。厄介なのに捕まったと思って、ここは我慢して営業。
それはそうですが、また結構な接客態度ね。ため息でお客様をお出迎え。それがこのお店の特色。
あまりいじめるな、キャスターも。
She never holds back her abusive language when we meet. Servant doesn't get along well with others in the first place, with the exception of her one-sided marriage proposal.
なんか浮かないな、ライダ
I thought working would make her more resilient, but it seems like the weight on her shoulders is piling up. I wonder if working here is just that awful?
仕事うまくいってないのか？
いいえ、主人には重宝がられています。店内も倉庫もこれほど片付いたのは10年ぶりだと。
With her strength, she could easily lift even heavy furniture. My only concern is that around all these delicate things, she would end up being even more awkward and break an expensive antique.
なら、なんでそんなに鬱屈してるのよ。
困ったことがあれば相談には乗るぞ。
いろいろ悩みがありまして、どうもこちらに来られるお客というのが。
ごめんくださいまし。
Oh no, I get your pain right away.
いらっしゃいませ。
こちらに陶磁器の取り扱いはございますか？去る高貴なお方の求めに応じてまいりました。
はい。陶磁器の在庫は目録ではこの辺りが。
ちょっと店員さん？
はい。どちらの器をご希望でしょうか？
なんですこのお値段は？
ええ、いくらかお勉強をさせていただくことも。
ご冗談はおよしになってくださりませんか？
はい。
あなたは高貴にして無二のお嬢様のテーブルを飾る陶磁器にこのような安物を並べろと、使える主の格もわからぬ使用人よと私どもに恥をかかせるおつもりですか？
You do realize it's your choice to buy them or not, yeah?
あ、こちらが当店の最高額の商品なのですが。
Oh my god. I've never worked as a shop clerk or anything, but goodness. This is exactly the sort of shit I was talking about.
なら結構です。どうして私がこんなことを。それもこれもあの怪力コンビがパリパリパリと卵の殻のように皿を割るからです。
Berserker and Liz?
そんなやんごとなき家に仕える人がどうしてこんなありふれた商店街に来るんだろう。
Shouldn't you just order a large supply of extra china if that's such a problem?
あら、元王女だってここにいるわよ。
そういえば元王も買い食いに来るな。
まだです。困ったお客は他にも。
店員さん、そこの香炉、明代の政治だと思うが本物かな？鑑定書はちゃんとあるのかどうか。
I'm guessing these places don't typically appraise them every single little thing.
はあ。
Especially a place that has this large of selection.
違うんじゃないの？あれもっと後の時代の写しでしょ？
Uh-oh, bull in a china shop, bull in a china shop.
それに金泥の直しも少し趣味が良くないし、今時香炉はいい値がつかないしね。まあうちじゃ仕事柄まだ使うけどさ。
この辺りは君に一日の長があるな。絵画であれば負けはしないのだが。おお、面白い。ここのものの真贋と由来を調べるだけでしばらく楽しめそうだ。
はあ、それは。あ、お客様、そのようなことをされては困ります。
と、目を離せば何をしている？
私は何も隠してなんかないぞ。
そこの和ダンスの引き出しに何を入れた？
いいじゃんかよ。ちょっとぐらいキープしておいても。ね、店員さん、可愛い私のお茶目を許してくれるよね。
いえ、それは。
これ、店員を困らせるな。普通に取り置きを頼めばよかろう。
だってあいつがこれを見つけたら有無を言わせず横取り50万円って感じだし。まったくお金持ち様はやることが露骨だわね。
というように。
So she just hid something random and someone else what? Who's she? Tosaka? Who else would have money that she knows?
へえ、変わったお客が来るんだな。一体何者だろ
にしてもあなたも意外に起点が効かないのね。
う。確かに客商売は大変だけど、要は慣れだ。
You'll get used to the abuse, don't worry.
ここは我慢だぞ、ライダー。
はい。
How much you want to bet she's being paid minimum wage too? She's probably a part-timer too, all things considered. I want to slap her on the shoulder for encouragement, but the difference in height would just make that look embarrassing.
私はお客でよかったわ。ええ、あなたはいいですね。
Let's go for case passes. Me and locks on the caster.
引っかかる言い方ね。
いやだから困ったお客には我慢だってば。
I heard a crash. I heard a crash.
ドラマの再放送をせんべいかじりながら眺めたり、テニスクラブに通ったり、キャスターはさぞ優雅な生活でしょうということです。
言ってくれるわね。
図星でしょ。
I mean, it's not like she has kids to take care of. It's not like she's cleaning the fucking house either. She lives in a temple that has a bunch of people that basically do that job. She doesn't have much going on. She doesn't work a job herself. She cooks occasionally for her husband. Yay! I mean, I hope she doesn't try to deny that she has it fairly easygoing.
いいえ、さっきの話を聞くとむしろあなたの方が羨ましいくらいよ。
Oh boy. Mind you, Saber probably has it the best in terms of freeloading. Absolutely no obligations. She helps, I'm sure, of stuff, but you know.
いざとなれば店長に頼ればいいんですもの。
ほう。
それに引き換え主婦は責任がすべて自分一人に。
I'm not saying homemakers don't have it hard, but you're not doing the shit. You're not doing like 90% of the shit, so.
ああ、もう本当に楽ではなくて。
久月先生って家では注文が多いとか？
総一郎様はいいのです。あの人は何があっても泰然自若。その伴侶として本当に頼もしいんですから。
Oh, it's almost like the responsibility of being a housewife is not totally entirely on your shoulders because you have a responsible and reliable partner. Yay.
のろけはよそでやってほしいものですが。では何が問題だと？
小獣とが。
はあ、久月先生の母親や姉がいるのか。
Huh? That's news to me.
姉ですか。ゾッとしませんね。
It also doesn't make sense to me knowing his background. What?
いいえ、総一郎様は天涯孤独の身。正しくは小獣とのような。
キャスターさん、よろしいですか？
Why do you call him a sister-in-law? He is best girl, I suppose.
はい、なんでしょう。
障子の山に埃が溜まっています。こちらもしっかり掃除しておいていただきたい。総一郎兄の近辺をお任せしているのですから丁重に。エミヤの掃除であればこんな手抜かりはありません。
I really sort of want to imagine Issei just constantly referencing Emiya whenever he's talking to other people, just casually. That would be fantastic. This is totally...
何ですかこの味噌汁は。キャスターさん。
This is totally made up, though, or completely an incorrect depiction of what happened. You can sort of tell. Caster wouldn't be this... would she be this docile in the situation?
何が悪かったのでしょうか。
I don't think Issei would be this aggressive either.
総一郎兄の味噌汁は 昆布だしの白味噌だと決まっているんです。赤だし、それも煮干しだしで腹も取ってないヤヒな味。こんなものを宗一郎兄に飲ませる気ですか、あなたは。
I also don't think Issei is anal enough to care this much about that sort of detail. Yeah, this is definitely her half making it up.
申し訳ありません。
まったくエミヤに比べればあなたの味噌汁は味噌スープとしか言いようのないちぐはぐな白物。
You know what would make this even better? If in her retelling of it, Issei referred to Emiya as the boy, just in the lines. It would make it really on the nose that it's sort of bullshit, but it would be fantastic.
エミヤの味噌汁はカツオだしと合わせ味噌と木綿豆腐が織りなすまさに和の味覚の原点にして究極。ああ、それに比べればあなたは国会での田舎者。黒パンをかじり岩塩キャベツ汁などを吸っている。
申し訳ありません。
なんですのこのお洗濯物は、キャスターさん。
あの
宗一郎兄のワイシャツには一点のシミもなく、それに襟はアイロンと糊でしっかり立てておかねばならないのですよ。それなのにこのようなシワが。何ですかその目は。エミヤはああ見えてもシャツもちゃんとアイロンをかけ、制服にブラッシングも欠かさないのですよ。それに引き換えあなたは宗一郎兄のスーツをそちらに置きっぱなし。それでは生地が傷みます。
申し訳。
貸しなさい。金羊毛の扱いを知っているあなたならメリノウールの扱いも知っているかと思った私がバカでした。これからは宗一郎兄のお洋服は私が手入れします。下がりなさい、この田舎女。
Would she technically be from Ukraine?
すいません、すいません、お許しください。
宗一郎兄にこのことは全て伝えます。あの方にあなたはふさわしくありません。さっさと荷物をまとめて黒海沿岸の芋臭いコルホーズにお帰り。
Potatoes? Is that a thing? Like, the only place that I associate like a stereotype of potatoes with is Ireland, right? That's just like a famine,
そ
right?
れだけは5条です。おやめください。一斉。
Oh my.
あんな屈辱、宗一郎様にはとても話せない。
You're so bullshitting.
こんな主婦のあり方が羨ましいと言えるのですか、あなた。
待て、なんでことごとく俺の名前が。
Also, the second half was really strange. I can't see Issei behaving like that.
相手が一世一人のあなたの方がずっと気楽ではないですか。
Oh my goodness.
言うわね。閉じた人間関係の中で増幅される陰湿ないじめは耐え難いものよ。
そのような環境は姉二人で経験済みです。しかしそれが家族というものでしょ。
どうかしら。本当の家族なら私の力になってくれるはずよ。
また気まずいことになってきた。
I mean, it's not really acting in a... Then, at that moment...
お前が早よ、二人とも。
to destroy any tension. Saber, don't talk with your mouth full. The caster's look of just...
お茶が欲しいところですが、後にしましょう。
Caster's look of just complete and utter disgust at her.
さて、お二人とも、ここは商店街の人々が立ち寄る憩いの場。争う場ではありません。
Without so much as flinching, Saber continues. Speaking from complete and utter lack of an actual place that she has any place to be speaking on this matter. Ryder and Caster are speechless.
まずは大判焼きなどをつまみつつ、いえ、それはいいのですが、とにかくお二方の話を聞かせていただきました。 悩みはそれぞれに深いことだと思います。
あなたも口を挟むつもり？
生きていくこと、なりわいを営むことは、それは辛いこと、ままならないこともあるでしょう。しかし自分の肩の荷こそは誰のものよりも重いと感じるもの、そこを間違えてはいけません。店のお客も一銭も悪気はないはず。彼らは彼らの最善を尽くそうとしているのですから、それを察して日々国旗精霊することが大切なのです。
How benevolent.
主婦であれ骨董屋であれ、真心を持って務め上げれば、いずれその心は相手に通じるはずです。まさに天下太平、形成催眠の妖術はここにありと。
Huh. I suppose Saber does have some wisdom from her time as a ruler. It's hard to believe, but after getting absorbed in the spirit of Saber's speech, these two were ready to fight until just a moment ago, and they grow silent. That's what made her such a magnificent king.
さすがだセイバー、見直したぞ。
いえいえ、それほどでも。とにかくこの場はこれで丸く収まってよかった。
Right, that kind of positive attitude will surely lead to a good outcome. Caster and Ryder come to an understanding, and reluctantly they look at each other to reconcile. But before that, they fix their gaze on Saber.
一つ聞かせてもらってもよろしいかしら？
ええ、何なりと。
そういうあなたは普段は何をなさってるの？
Da da da! This event is just addressing all my concerns.
ご公説のついでにお教えいただけないかしら？
何もしてませんよ、セイバ
ライダー
ー。ですよね、シロ。
Ryder fixes her eyes in my direction. Even through glasses, her mystic eyes are burning.
つまり単なる居候？
ええ、3倍目もそっと出さない居候です。
A very hungry freeloader, to be fair.
それが私たちにお説教？
待ってください。その2人とも各々の本分を忘れている。私たちは店員や主婦や居候である前にサーバントではありませんか。私たちの使命は戦いだ。それを満足に果たすために休養を取るのは間違ったことでは。
せめて給食活動ぐらいしたらどうです？働きに出る私を見て何か思うところはありませんか？
王様も少しは下々の暮らしを察した方がよろしいかと元王女は愚行いたしますわ。
Those two are pissed and not showing any mercy. Hey, Saber, you know, it was good wisdom you preached before, but, you know, practice what you preach.
2人とも何を言うのですか。ですから私も庶民の暮らしを知るべく、こうして大判焼きなどをつまみつつ巡察の旅に。
Saber, don't lie.
食べ歩きはみっともないのでやめなさい。
Da da da.
他人よりまず自分の暮らしを見つめ直しなさい。
Da da da.
私にどうしろと。
Get a job.
サーバントとはいえ、あなたも少しは生産的なことに従事するべきでは？
そうよ、社会経験。じゃあ私専属のモデルになりなさい。毎日私のコレクションで着飾ってあげるわ。
Are you willing to pay?
非生産にも程がある。教訓は身をもって学ぶものとはいえ、この世間知らずにいきなりキャッチ商法の苦いトラウマを植え付けるのはどうかと思いますが。
あなたみたいな大女、私のモデルにお呼びじゃないのよ。
大戸島に言われたくはありません。
言ったわね。聞こえないと思った？あいにくこの耳は伊達に尖ってるわけじゃないのよ。
Yes? What are you Are you gonna stab her with your ears?
ああ、2人ともまた。
Oh, to hear. What pointed ears make it easier to hear things? These two are hitting each other below the belt now. At this rate, even Saber will get dragged in. With these three big servants lying around in a fierce battle, the shopping district will turn to a scene of carnage. Saber doesn't fucking care. She's getting fucking just like criticized and torn apart, and she's just like, well, I had my food at least. This is how Saber stays happy in the face of complete and utter self-reflection. The demise that is self-reflection.
そこ気まずくなったと言って逃げない。
いや、大丈夫か。
The tension completely disappeared. Jeez, are they on good terms or bad? Oh boy. Wallpaper, eh? Okay. Sure, let's do this one. As I'm walking around with no particular goal in mind, looking for clues for something.
おや、奇遇だね、エミヤ。何してんのさ、こんなところで。
I suddenly come across Mrs. Zuri.
こんなところって公園で散歩するのは普通だろう。ちょっとした気晴らしだよ。三つ釣りだって散歩じゃないのか？
私はそこまで暇じゃな。ああ、そうだね。エミヤは暇ってわけか。
Thanks.
よしよし、それじゃあ仕事をあげよう。元弓道部のよしみで付き合いなさい。
はい。
And so I ended up.
3年の斉田さん、覚えてるだろ？
一応は。ポニーテールのちょい落ち着きがない子だろ？
そう、あの子が急に入院してね。弓道部代表で見舞いに行くことになったの。
Wouldn't sending me like send a really mixed message at minimum, if not worse?
怪我か？
相変わらず他人のことだけ心配性だね。大丈夫。ただの急性腸炎で大事には至ってないから。それでいろいろ花とかなんとか見舞いの品を調達ってね。まあ現部長の麻藤が何かと忙しいから元部長の私が買って出たわけだ。
So it gets passed off several times. That seems.
あれ？
The florist storefront caught me by surprise. Before it was filthy. Well, that might have been kind of rude, but it certainly didn't feel very clean. But now it looks like a completely different store.
いらっしゃいませ。
And the new clerk's coming. A bit enthusiastic, maybe? Wait. It's gonna be a tall man in an apron suddenly emerges from the back. Why? I sort of want to make this a cliffhanger. He really looks like someone that I know. No way. That guy, Florist? It's probably just a coincidence. Oh, you know what? I never noticed it before. The earrings that Bazette has. That's Lancer's earring. I never noticed that before because I never really thought about his ears. But they sort of stand out without the rest of his outfit here. But he's actually looking at me with a smile.
なんだ小僧か。何の用だ？
It's him, no doubt about it.
ああ、なんだ。何してるか聞いていいか？
I'm with Mrs. Zuri, so don't do anything too, you know. Yeah, it did seem to. I did get the impression that he had some sort of job, like maybe like this, based on the whole him showing up for the play stuff and people reacting. Did Archer also get that sort of react? He might have.
見てわからねえか？バイトだバイト。坊主もしてるだろう。別段不思議なことじゃねえって。
とりあえずエプロンが似合ってるのが不思議だ。
そう言うな。他人の家の門を叩けば主人のもてなしで飲み食いってご時世じゃねえからな。飲み口ぐらいは自分で稼ぎ出さねえとよ。
そりゃそうか。あんたも大変なんだな。
おう。けどま、役得もあるしな。余生をまくのにも力が入るってもんだ。
What do you think? Lancer points to the storefront. What's the side benefit? What are you luring? Girls?
エミヤの知り合いか？
Men? People? Children? Adults? Servants?
あまり知り合いたくもないやつなんだが。
その割には随分親しそうだけど。
Familiar, not close.
いらっしゃいお嬢さん。お花のご入り用かい？
ちょっと見舞いの花束を予算これくらいで見繕ってもらえます？
Mrs. Zura quickly puts up 2 fingers. Nodding, Lancer starts picking out flowers skillfully. He really does act like an actual florist.
見舞いの花と大村原の学生さんと見たが、不幸にあったのは友達か何かかい？
部活の仲間、弓道部やってまして。
なんだと？
No, it's not anyone you... Wait, would you know?
義理人情のないこのご時世に共に戦う腹からに花を手向けるとは見上げた心がけだ。
Oh, that's what you're getting? They're not dead.
ここのところ弓使いとは反りが合わなかったが、あんたとは気が合いそうだ。
It seems that this man mistakenly sees the archery club as some combat group whose members watch each other's backs in a bloody battle. Yeah, okay, I was thinking like, how is he familiar with someone from... Nope, he doesn't even fucking know what it is.
つか泣かせる。いや泣く。あんたみたいな女に思われていくのなら、そいつもきっと浮かばれるぜ。
いや、死んでない。欲しいのは公家じゃなくて、何作ってんだよ。
I stop him as the Lancer swiftly picks out a burial flower collection. Oh, but to be honest, his bouquet did show a pretty good sense of style.
戦士。店員さんも何か武芸をされてるんですか？
まあ一通りな。剣でも弓でも戦車でも。本業は槍なわけだが。
Tanks? Should I be on the lookout for you, Lancer?
槍術？古武術ですか？
What kind of ancient art is supposed to be? His expression seems to ask.
三綴、あまりその辺は、それよりランさん、ちゃんと見舞い用の花を作れよ。
なんだエミヤ、気に入らない口ぶりだね。武道をたしなんで悪いことがあるっていうの？
そいつとはちょいとあってね。未だに根に持ってんだよ。しつこいやつだぜまったく。今生きてんだからいいじゃねえか。
You fucking stabbed me! Of course I'm not gonna feel entirely affectionate towards you. You also were technically the servant for the freaking priest, so that never helps my opinion of you. Not that he's a bad person, but I have a dreadful hypothesis. Lancer's the kind of guy that goes, it ain't no murder if no one found out after stabbing someone's heart.
エミヤ、なんだか知らないけど、勝負事を根に持つのは感心しないな。弓をやめても武道家の精神までは忘れてほしくないね。
Should I tell her that he stabbed me in the heart?
ちょいとあったくらいでそのふてくされようはなんだ。
Fool. If you can brush it off with it, you're alive, so what's the problem? The world ought to be one big coliseum with fountains of blood and gore, and I think Lancer just smiled at that possibility.
でも、槍術家に会うのは初めてです。私は薙刀をやっているんですが。
ああ、そういえば三綴の一番の得手はそれだっけ？
ああ、非力な女子のための武芸ってイメージが強いから、男にはなかなか縁のない武道だけどな。
おお、要するにハルバートみたいなもんか。しかしな、戦士に男も女もないぜ。あんなのは向いているか向いていないかだけの話だ。何せ俺の槍は。
Don't like manifest it here.
おい、待て、それは。
A 2-meter long spear is being easily swung around by the florist's gentle hands. Why do you have it here? Why would he bring it out at least? As if transformed into a whip by a flick of his wrist, the spear roams freely about the shop.
この通り、ある女戦士からの直伝でね。この国ではあまり知られてないのが残念だが。
Not a single petal fell in the flower-filled shop, and nothing but the desired flowers were plucked out. Wait, did you use it to pick up the flowers?
珍しい伝だね。いえ、です。
An unusual guy whipping out a spear to cut some flowers, more like it.
じゃあお嬢さんと俺とで長屋のお仲間ってわけかな。
そんな恐縮です。こんな素晴らしい技量の槍術に比べれば私なんて。
いや、技量より花屋で槍を振り回す非常識さは。
Huh? Not you too, Mrs.
どこで槍術を習得されたのですか？ぜひお話を聞かせてもらえれば嬉しいです。
話して聞かせる昔語りならここの花ほど、まあ売るほどあるね。よし、完成。
Lancer hands over the finished bouquet.
柔らかくて優しい感じ。作った人の気持ちが伝わってくるような。あんな。
Mrs. keeps an eye on the bouquet.
うん。やはりいいもんだな。
え？
美人の武道家にこそ花はよく生える。眼福ってやつだ。
Lancer laughs as he brushes off his apron.
政治じゃない。単なる本音だ。
でもそう言われて悪い気はしません。
I think she might be developing a crush. Mrs. smiles happily. I've known her since she came to Homerhara. This is the first time I've seen her act girl-like in, well, this fashion, of course.
じゃあこれはサービス。
He gives the surprised Mrs. one more flower.
これは？
戦友を思うあんたへの心尽くしだ。見誤ったかな。飴色の花は気に入らないか？
そうじゃなくて少し驚いただけで。
そういえば名前聞いてなかったな。俺のことはランサーとでも呼んでくれ。今はそれで通ってる。
はい。私の名前は綾子。
ライダ
ー？どうしてここに？
こちらの近所で働いているのですよ。
お花ですね。でしたらこちらによりどりみどりで。
いえ、今はお昼を取りに出てきたところなので、花より綾子です。
私と昼食に何のつながりが
Time for another of Riley's bad habits to show up. Seems that she took a liking to Mrs. and is now closing in as if on a real date.
普通の恋愛がしたいのに。
何？おい、嬢ちゃん、花、お勘定。
Wait, I can take them. She's running away. Today I learned a lot about a side of Mrs. I never knew existed.
って買い物に付き合わされてた俺はどうしたものかな。
Yeah, I didn't really achieve anything of my own here, have I? Okay, well, that's probably a good place to stop. Yeah, I'm not too far ahead in terms of recording stuff for this, so like maybe an episode or two at this point. Typically just the next week or so worth of stuff, so that's definitely not the side of Lancer I was expecting. Of course, I like how it just like sort of went to like an angled sort of black and white shot, like it was a picture taken from a crime scene or some shit. There, that's pretty great. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. And next time I'll continue on. Probably not doing any more main story stuff for another episode or two, depending on what I feel like doing. Again, I'm at a point where I'm just doing whatever I feel like, so I'll see y'all then. Drive safely, everyone.